I convince you to build Heihachi Mishima? He is an HP type unit with a first skill called Demon's Wings that attacks the enemy to deal damage proportionate to the enemy's max HP and blocks the target from receiving beneficial effects for 2 turns with a 30% chance. A second skill called Thunder God Fist that attacks all enemies for times to deal damage proportionate to their max HP. Each hit decreases their defense for 2 turns with a 20% chance. Reusable in 3 turns after skill ups. A third skill called Tempest Demon God Fist that grants Endure on himself for 1 turn and attacks the enemy to block the target from receiving beneficial effects for 2 turns. The damage dealt increases by 15% for each harmful effect granted on the target. Reusable in for turns after skill ups. And a leader skill that increases the attack power of ally monsters in dungeons by 44%. He also already comes awakened into a 25% increase in accuracy, which will make it easier to rune him for applying his debuffs. I kept him built with most of the runes that were already on him, but made sure to change his slot 6 rune from HP to attack to test his damage. Now let's take a look at how much damage he can deal, but keep in mind that he will deal more damage the higher the enemy's max HP on his first and second skills. His first skill does 300% of his attack plus 6% of the target's max HP. His second skill deals a total of 240% of attack plus 12% of the target's max HP, delivered in 4 separate hits, and his third skill deals damage equal to 820% of his attack, with a 15% bonus for each harmful effect on the target. But where can he be used? As you can see, he's mainly used in dungeons, which makes sense because his leader skill only applies in dungeon content, but his main use is in Steel Fortress. Here is a team I like to use with him as the leader. Some things to note is that because his first skill is based off the enemy's max HP, team-ups are really good to pair with him so that he can take down the boss faster. Also, 2 of his skills have beneficial effect block, which is the main debuff you need for this dungeon. He also does fairly well in Dragons, Spiritual Realm, and Rift of Worlds as well. He's not that great for Dragons, but can still get the job done for you if you are newer to the game and are looking for a solid damage dealer. Also, Vertihal's leader skill is safer to go with, but if your team has enough damage with the attack leader skill, then you can run a team like this and possibly improve the speed of your runs. I think some people may be overlooking how good he can be for Spiritual Realm as well. He doesn't have a wasted move in his kit for most of these dungeons, and the additional damage from his leader skill once again is providing so much more team damage to speed up your runs, especially if you're looking for a free-to-play option. For my Wind Beast team, I was able to replace Perna, who was mainly in the team just for the leader skill. Now I have the same leader skill with more utility. However, if you were going to run him in the front line, I would suggest throwing HP back on his slot 6 rune, or not and have him survive with his built-in Endure and finish the boss with 1 hit left. Another spot he may be overlooked for is in Trial of Ascension, especially in the higher stages on hard mode when the enemies have more HP for him to deal more damage with his skills based off the enemy's HP, and his beneficial effect blocks make him a solid counter against things like Light Lich and Dark Phantom Thief, which can be very annoying and time-consuming stages to deal with. You can also use him as an AoE damage dealer in Arena, but if I'm being honest, he's not great unless you are brand new to the game. However, I did have a good time using him in World Arena. I built him on Violent plus Will, Speed, Crit Damage, HP, because I want him to be well-rounded and survive long enough to land his debuffs and potentially defense break with his second skill and Violent proc into his third skill to kill something. I also think he's good to build on Despair for the potential AoE stun on his second skill. Or you can build him very tanky and full Revenge if you're trying to counter teams that apply a lot of beneficial effects. In summary, this guy is a solid choice for a lot of different PvE areas in the game. He was specifically made for Steel Fortress, but that is not the only thing he is good for. Also, he is a free unit that will help new players progress easier since he already comes fully kitted, and he offers enough for even veteran players to find a use for him for something they may be lacking. But this wouldn't be a slick head video if I didn't try pushing him to his limits. So I built him on Vampire Revenge to see if he could solo the dungeon that he was meant for. But then I realized something.
Vampire doesn't work if you're dealing damage based off the enemy's max HP.
It's hard being a slick head.
But it's real being a stick head.
They out here talking about them slick head.